Is Xbox trying to stop you from having fun online? Let's discuss. What's up, guys, and welcome to Xbox Ready, the YouTube channel that is dedicated to all things Xbox. I'm back here with another news update for you guys. Y'all know how I do things if you've been watching for a while, but if you haven't, with these videos, I gather all of the topical things going on in the world of Xbox this week, and I share them with you to make sure that you are Xbox ready. So if you're a fan of Xbox, a fan of my videos, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. I recently passed 140,000 subs, which is crazy to think about. We've only been doing this for a little like almost 2 years at this point, and it's been really humbling to see. I'm really grateful that the channel has grown the way it has. And the best is yet to come. We got a lot of exciting stuff coming up in the world of Xbox, and if you subscribe, you can experience all that stuff with me. If you're thinking about buying any Xbox related things, accessories, I also have links for a bunch of stuff below the video, and I'm also trying to post more on my Instagram, so I'd appreciate a follow there. Harsh language, crazy rage-like behavior, and trash talking, they've all been elements of online gaming for as long as we can remember. All of that stuff probably predates online gaming, like in-person trash talk at the arcade, or like if you're playing split screen. But up until now, we haven't really had a name or a word for that kind of behavior, and now over the past couple of years, it's become known as toxic gaming behavior, which is funny to think about because if you were, playing in the OG Call of Duty lobbies, Halo 3, Gears, whatever game, and someone was making fun of you or talking trash to you and you said, "Hey bro, you're being like really toxic right now," people would just, I don't even know what they would do, laugh and like just absolutely cook you, roast you. But times are a changing, guys, and more we are seeing these video game publishers and platform holders work harder and harder to curb toxicity. And that includes Xbox. Over the years, we've seen Xbox release multiple transparency reports regarding how they handle violations of community guidelines. They released a very confusing flow chart, which looked more like a racetrack almost, that details what you should do if you face disciplinary action from Xbox. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about how Xbox is working on a feature that will allow you to voice record someone who you believe is violating community guidelines, and then when you go to report them, include that recording as evidence. And just this past Tuesday, they posted on the Xbox Wire detailing a new feature, a new system, which they call the Enforcement Strike system. Now, in this new system, Xbox will issue strikes depending on the severity of your violation. And if you get 8 strikes, that's pretty much it. Xbox will suspend your account for a year, and you will be prevented from using any Xbox communication or multiplayer features. Now, whenever Xbox does something like this, and whenever I talk about it on the channel, it's clearly something that I've learned that people have very strong opinions about. I personally do not have a strong opinion of this. This new system is probably not going to affect me at all. In the 15 years that I've been an Xbox Live member, I haven't even been close to facing disciplinary action, or I don't even think I've been reported. But inevitably, when Xbox does stuff like this, people get all up in arms, they get super dramatic. "Oh, what? I can't say this, I can't joke around with my friends, I can't trash talk, everyone's so soft, ugh, this is driving me crazy." And I'm like, who's the soft person in this scenario? People get really passionate about it because I think they think Xbox, they're trying to come after like the small violations, when it's like, guys, I don't think that's what they're trying to get after. They're not trying to shut down trash talk or like people joking around in game. They're trying to shut down the extreme stuff, and I know y'all know what I am talking about. There are some people that take it way too far, and what's really been annoying over the past couple of years is like the amount of kids playing online games. I don't know if that's just me getting older and I'm getting crankier, more prickly. I don't know. But with kids, I'm willing to give them a pass because I'm like, they're just kids. Teenagers, I'm willing to give a pass too because I'm like, oh, you're going through your edgy phase. I get it. If you're a grown adult out there that cannot play a game online without having a complete meltdown and insulting someone's religion or race, then you got to get help, brother. I don't know what to do for you. On the Xbox Wire, they have this graph that details what violations lead to how many strikes. And there are a couple of things that I would change personally if I was the king or CEO of Xbox. First of all, I'm kind of worried that profanity will lead to one strike. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I don't really curse or swear on here. That's because I know that kids are watching this, and I know like YouTube is weird about the monetization of things if you curse too much or like curse in the beginning of the YouTube video. I just try to avoid it when I'm on the channel, but in my day-to-day life, yes, I cuss, I swear, whatever, and I do it in online games. I got really freaking mad at Baldur's Gate 3 the other day. Freaking Will, man, I was trying to land an Eldritch Blast on this enemy, and for 3 turns in a row, despite the fact that I had 85% chance of hitting this enemy, and also advantage, I still missed 3 times in a freaking row. So yeah, I got a little angry at that point, maybe said some things. So I'm curious to see the enforcement of this profanity strike. Hopefully Xbox is referring to like excessive profanity and not like the occasional outburst out of getting frustrated or like celebration. And I'm sure a lot of you are worried about that too, but it's kind of interesting because that's less on Xbox's fault and more us being aware that gamers can be very petty and just terrible and abuse systems that are available to them. According to this, if you are caught cheating, you will get 1 strike, which is right there with profanity and below things like hate speech and harassment. Cheating should have like the ultimate penalty, the ultimate strike amount, and should have like 4 strikes, 5 above, or just have like a no tolerance policy. To me, cheating alters my enjoyment of an online game, especially way more than someone just talking crazy. You see, me, I kind of have this personal philosophy wherein, you know, if I'm walking down the street and I see a crazy person and they're saying crazy stuff, I ignore them. I'm like, okay, I better just leave them alone. I don't want to get involved. And I take that same philosophy with me into my games. If someone is yelling into their mic, talking crazy, rarely ever do they take it to the point where I'm like, I just can't listen to this anymore. But if that happens, I just mute them, I ignore them, I continue on with my life. And it's kind of funny that that's the culture that some people are defending. They're like, it's just part of the game, man. It's just part of the game. That's a weird thing to claim for any culture, but hey, man, if that's what you like, that's what you like, I guess. So someone talking crazy doesn't really affect my enjoyment of a game. It's annoying, sure, but it's not terrible. Cheating, that to me, that's unforgivable. That's just heinous. People like me, other fans of Xbox, we're probably just getting a little worked up over this. Chances are it's not going to affect the majority of players' lives. According to this Xbox Wire post, like less than 1% of gamers face like any sort of significant suspensions or bans, and apparently only a third of that 1% after they receive a ban or suspensions do it again. But if you're really out there and you're worried, you're like, this is unacceptable on Xbox's part, I may not personally understand, but hey, I'm not here to change your mind. Luckily, communication through Xbox is not the only option we have nowadays. We have Discord on our Xbox consoles. You can bring up Discord on your phone and communicate with your friends there while playing a game on Xbox. So if you're really against this new enforcement strike system on Xbox's part, it's not the end of the world. You have other options. At the end of the day here, it's about money. These companies want to expand to people who aren't necessarily gamers. They want to appeal to people outside of the niche and hopefully grow their business. And while people like you and me are probably used to people talking crazy and saying crazy things in an online lobby, prospective customers may not be. And that's something that Xbox wants to protect, and that's something that any company would want to protect. And just so I get ahead of this, because there's always inevitably someone who comments something about, oh, they're violating my First Amendment right to free speech. As a reminder, the First Amendment prevents the government from infringing on free speech. Xbox is not the government. They are a corporation. They're a private entity. They can regulate their communications as they see fit, whether you like it or not. And less controversial news, Starfield has gone gold and is now available for preloading. Now, for those of you who don't know, going gold in the gaming industry means that the development process on the game is officially done and it is now ready to be sold. It's ready for manufacturing and distribution. It's gotten the okay from the publisher, from the investor saying, hey, this is good to go ahead and ship it. Which is absolutely crazy that we're at this point. I feel like we have been talking about the development of this game, the journey of this game for years. And now we are finally at the point that in a few short weeks, we will be able to experience it for ourselves. And if you want to get ahead of the download, have it all ready by the time September 1st or 6th rolls around, you are able to preload Starfield Starfield as of, well, this video will go up Friday, so Thursday. The day before this video goes up, you will be able to preload it on Xbox. And if you bought the digital deluxe upgrade or the Constellation Edition, you have 5 days of early access, so you'll be able to play this starting on September 1st. I'm super excited for this game. I've talked about it for a long time and many videos. I'm a big fan of Bethesda RPGs, including their faults. I think it's safe to say that a lot of people are hyped for this game. I see a lot of people have wishlisted it and pre-ordered it on Steam, but I feel like there is a healthy amount of skepticism going into the launch of Starfield. We're only a couple of months removed from Redfall. We all remember how disastrous that launch was. And the gaming community in general has just been burned multiple times by, you know, these games that promise you the world and then end up just being okay or buggy or terrible. So while yes, I'm excited, I'm also kind of like, I don't know, something in my heart is telling me like, oh, don't get too excited. But what we saw at Starfield Direct was a very strong showing. So if I were to put like a physical measure on it, I'd say there's like 80% of me is super hyped and excited for this game, 20% is skeptical. Speaking of things that Xbox has been working on for a while and then finally came out to some disappointment, we gotta talk about the Xbox dashboard. Now, for a year and some change, Xbox has been working on a revamped version of their dashboard, which finally launched just a couple of weeks ago. And the general consensus is that the top half of the dashboard is great. You get to see more of your background, you have like a new little hotbar that makes things really convenient, the tiles are smaller, but in a very questionable move, as you scroll down, Xbox took away the ability for you to rearrange the different groups that are presented to you. And back in the old dashboard, you can just say, I don't want any of this stuff, and delete it all. After you did that, you can put in your own pin groups, you can rearrange them. You can still have your own pin groups down below the dashboard, but it's kind of hidden and bogged down by all of Xbox's stuff. You have to scroll through like, oh, these were recently added to Game Pass. Oh, these are the games that you recently played. Oh, here's, you want to watch Fast and Furious? You want to watch like this latest television show? You want to do this? You want to do that? There's like all sorts of ads now. So that was kind of annoying, and some people are reaching out to me and asking, hey Ray, is there a way where I can like move some of this around, declutter this a little bit? And unfortunately at this point, it seems like no. This whole journey for the dashboard has been so weird because it's something that we've known that Xbox has been working on for a while, and then they had one version of it and fans were like, no, the people testing it were like, no, this is not good, so they drew it back, and we're like, okay, we're gonna consider all the feedback that we're getting and then we're gonna implement it into this new dashboard. But it turns out that not all of the feedback was implemented, and then when it finally came out, it took forever for the new dashboard to make its way onto my Series X right here. It took like weeks to finally get it, which was so weird because I have an Xbox Series S, and on the Series S, it got it right away. We're on the same network, we have the same profiles on it, but for some reason, my Series S was deemed more important than my Series X. How dare they? And now there's apparently another change that is annoying Xbox owners. It's a very small change, so it's not the end of the world, but it just seems weird. For the longest time, historically, the first tile in the second row has been reserved for a My Games and Apps section. For me personally, it's probably the thing that I use the most when I turn on my Xbox console, but I saw on r/Xbox Series X that this guy was reporting that it was no longer the My Games and Apps tile, it was now a Microsoft Store tile. And I saw in the replies that a lot of people were like, yeah, that happened to me too. And I turned on my Xbox and sure enough, it was no longer the My Games and Apps tile, it was now the Microsoft Store tile. This is not something that's gonna kill my enjoyment of Xbox or gaming, but it just seems weird. We have a million ways to navigate to the Microsoft Store, whether it be through the guide button. They have a little tab for it now at the top of the dashboard. And if you scroll down the dashboard, they of course have all of these ways for you to check out these new recently added games in the Microsoft Store. So it just seems like overkill to add yet another big tile for the Microsoft Store. I didn't need that, man. I liked my Games and Apps tile. Hopefully this is just like a glitch or a mistake on Xbox's part, because if we start to put too much focus on the store, then that just feels like I'm opening up an ad on my Xbox. I don't want that. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Less is more when it comes to the dashboard. I want less stuff. And while the top half of the new dashboard is the perfect example of that, the rest of it is not. But inevitably, and whenever I go on these rants about the Xbox dashboard, I think to myself, is there really a perfect solution? And the answer to that is probably not. Very few times in gaming is everyone happy. happy. More often than not, people find a lot of things to complain about. But in this case, I feel like there are small things that Xbox can do that can go a long way in pleasing the community. Anyways, guys, that's all the news I have for today. Thanks again for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready, and we'll see you in the next video.